Without leaps of imagination or dreaming, we lose the excitement of possibilities. Dreaming, after all, is a form of planning. When I was younger, I had a dream of becoming a famous actor, so I got to work on figuring out a plan that would make this happen. I looked into all of my favorite actors and I figured out how they got their start, by what age, and from that, I deduced that I needed to move to Los Angeles. As a 10-year-old with no resources, it was very difficult for me to actualize these plans. And once I got my parents involved, they offered that maybe I should try to do it here in Ireland before going all the way across the world. As it turned out, I was quite shy and I wasn't actually even willing to go to the acting classes in my local community because I was afraid of what the other kids would think of me. And so soon enough, my dreams of becoming an actor in Hollywood dried up. And my ambition as a performer didn't stop there, because in my adolescence I discovered that I was quite interested in music and I started to sing, and I found that to be a very therapeutic process. And so my next big plan was that I was going to become a famous musician, a famous artist, and that I was going to play to hundreds of thousands of people. And in between songs, in between my own songs, I would stop and I would interject and I would tell the audience how beautiful they were and how they could achieve their goals and that they are worth something to this world. Now at this point, a lot of people get slapped in the face by reality, and their goals and their plans fade into the distance as they get a different job in a different industry or pursue a different path, or something else happens that prevents them from executing on that plan. Now I had a plan, and it would be accurate to say that my plan has not materialized. My plan to reach thousands of people on stage and then tell them, you're amazing, it hasn't worked. But the initial intention was that I was going to reach people and I was going to communicate to them their value and their worth, and I was going to share something that would help them along their journey. When I entered college, I started having conversations with people, and it started to pop up every now and again. People would recommend that I become a motivational speaker, and I thought, interesting. I'd never thought of myself as a speaker per se. I always thought that I would speak, but only off the back of my artistry. It was quite encouraging and it was quite flattering to hear that I was actually giving value to people without having to build up a huge audience. I could just have a conversation in my day-to-day interactions. It seemed that even though my plans kept on failing, I was still somehow achieving my goals. Now also, while I was in college, I started to revisit my old dreams of being an actor. At this point, I guess I was slightly more confident, and I was writing scripts, comedy sketches, and I thought, well, I'll just put myself in them, because if I write the script and if I direct it, I'll just cast myself. And that worked. I just wrote the scripts. Turns out people kind of liked them, and I cast myself. Was I the best actor?
Sorry, there's a fly.
Maybe not, but I managed to get myself on screen, which is kind of what I wanted when I was a kid. So I achieved that goal too, but I didn't have to do the thing I thought I had to do to get there. We fast forward a few more years later, and I had started to learn about, spirituality, self-improvement, all of those things. And I felt as though I had some insight to share with people. And so what I did was I took my acting skills and my writing skills and put the self-improvement stuff into comedy sketches. And then all of a sudden, one of my videos took off with me talking about getting up early. I didn't even think it was a good video, but the algorithm said otherwise. And so again, my goal of reaching a lot of people, it happened, but there wasn't really a plan per se, but there was something that interested me, and then I took action aligned with those interests and with that objective. And then all of a sudden, the goal that I had set when I was 10 years old seemed to happen through an application that didn't even exist when I was 10 years old. Planning is a funny concept really when you think of it, because the things that have allowed me to achieve the goals that I had set for myself, like the actual steps, didn't exist back when I had those plans initially. So how could I anticipate what was going to happen and how it was going to turn out? I haven't let go of my goals to reach millions of people with my music, but the plan, I don't really have it. I mean, I could knock on a few doors, I could send a few messages, I could, go play here, go play there, release this, release that, and that might all work. And those are things that I do. But are those the things that are going to bring my goal to fruition? Maybe. Maybe Lewis Capaldi or some other cool artist is looking for support on their next tour and they see this video. But ultimately, there are so many things at play that I don't even know. There's so many factors that haven't yet come into the equation. I'm speaking to a camera right now, uploading this video to YouTube, and when I was a kid, I didn't think that this would be possible because it wasn't in existence. I never thought that I could just skip the whole building up a huge artist brand presence and then playing to crowds of people and just go straight to telling people what I have to say, what I have to share. I didn't realize at the time that if I just waited a few more years or a decade and a half more or less, that I would be able to just create and share directly to you as we are now, without having to build up this massive audience, go out on tour, go out on stage and then be like, hey, you're great. It's not that I've let go of that objective, it's still an objective that I expect and anticipate I will succeed in achieving. But the way that I achieve that, I'm not really sure how it's going to go. But I do know that my plans in the past haven't quite worked out. A little while ago, I put out a video on the internet telling my story. It reached a lot of people. At the time of recording this video, 500,000 people have looked at it. Pretty cool, my younger self would say. But with his awareness at the time, he didn't know that he could reach people and have that impact through this method, through this medium. The initial ambition, that dream that we have at any stage, I'm still dreaming today as I was back then. But that dream is planning. On some universal level, we need to remove ourselves from this practical matrix thing and don't be so focused on how A leads to B, which leads to C, and realize that there's more things happening. There's people coming in and out of your life all of the time. There's algorithms, there's a universal algorithm. It's not bad to have a plan, but just know that your plans aren't really going to go according to plan. It's a great defense mechanism against uncertainty. But guess what? Within uncertainty, there is so much potential. There is gold hidden in a river. But as you look at the river, as you look at the flowing water, you just see water and you don't see what's beneath it. But it's beneath it that you find what it is you're looking for. But you have to have the courage to get into that river, to take off your boots or put on your boots, depending. If they're waterproof boots, you can put them on. And then within that river, you'll find what you're looking for, maybe. But you got to get into it. For me, getting into the river looks like making a video. Looks like making a song, looks like playing that show, playing a gig, going on the street, busking. There's so many different ways that we can have our dreams, have our goals be realized, and they're not always in accordance with the plan that we have. The mind says
anything but uncertainty.
Then the universe or something else sees uncertainty and thinks, what could we put there? If you're to set a goal and then have a plan to get to that goal, and all of a sudden your plan stops working, or maybe it just never begins to work, then you might let go of the goal, which is such a foolish decision, I would argue. Because the goal and the plan are actually quite unrelated. Things are always happening. The beauty of life is that your plans, they don't really matter so much to the world at a larger scale. It's a tool that we've adopted, and the universe doesn't really care about your plans because things are going to happen when you least expect it, like this incense stick just falling. I really wanted music to take off a long time ago, and I really wanted YouTube to take off a long time ago, and I really wanted to have a romantic relationship, and I really wanted to have a lot of money, and I really wanted to have my own place. I really wanted to have the freedom and flexibility to just go everywhere whenever I wanted. But if I had gotten all of what I wanted at the time that I wanted it, then I would have missed out on a lot, I'm realizing now. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, I was in a cafe and I met this girl and I thought she was attractive and I was hoping that maybe something might happen, but nothing happened. And it was that day that I made the video, How Self-Improvement Ruined My Life. And that video is just taking this channel to a new milestone, a new level. And if I was too busy, you know, texting somebody or out on a date, then I might not have made that video. And it's only now with the realization that the video has helped me to reach people and helped me to grow and expand my career and get me closer to my other goals that I realized, oh, it was actually a blessing that I was single. If it weren't for the fact that I didn't have the money and flexibility to perpetually travel the world, I wouldn't have realized that there's community here where I live now. The fact that I didn't have the money to get my own place to live in led me to a beautiful co-living situation that I'm currently in. I don't know why I haven't blown up as a musician yet. I'd love to know, but I don't need to know. And I've had a lot of evidence over the last few years that have shown me that when things aren't going to plan, it's not because you're a bad person. It's not because your goal isn't going to be actualized. It's just because it hasn't happened yet. Now, I don't know about you, but the goals I had as a kid, the big dreams that I've always had, they didn't fade away when I got older. And I honestly don't think they will. And I'm totally okay with that. And I surrendered to this life of uncertainty, this life of no money and lots of money. I've accepted that these are all possibilities for me. I'm here for the ride, and at this point in time, I'm not planning to have it any other way. But of course that could change because something might happen that causes me to think differently. And I need to be open to that. If I can just know what it is I want, know the actions that might help get that, and be somewhat practical in terms of understanding algorithms, understanding the ideal length of a song, that is all helpful because it can help you position your offer to the world. There's no shame in playing the game. You don't have to lose all integrity in order to achieve your ambitions. And remember that new paths are being paved every day. Every moment. I looked at artists and actors over the years and I would see what age they were when they, you know, had their breakout. And as the years went on, it seemed like I was way older than all of the actors and artists that broke out. You know, they had broken out by age 20, 21, 22, 24, 25. Each time I surpassed that age, I thought to myself, well, damn, I haven't done it. Maybe I'll never do it. Or maybe I'll be the first to do it at age 28 or 29 or 30 or 40 or 50. Is comparing your path to other people's path could be the very thing that prevents you from achieving your goals, because your goals are on your time. And if you rush to get it on someone else's time, then you might not do the thing that would have led to it happening in the first place. If I was too focused on waiting until I was playing to thousands of people to tell people that they're worth something or that life is worth living through the pain, then I would never have made that video that has impacted a lot of people. What's happened? I didn't plan any of this, but somehow it worked out. And it's still working out. And I'm excited to see what else is in store for me. Instead of being afraid of what might not happen, or afraid of an outcome that you don't want, try to be excited for an outcome that you do want.